Is there a Bible verse that shows that Cain knew he was supposed to offer an animal for a sacrifice and chose not to?
Okay, here's where we have to reason together. Did Cain know what God wanted? Now, God does not execute judgment on someone who's ignorant. Let's go to John 15. Read John 15, let's read verse 22 and verse 23, verse 24. Hear what Jesus tells his disciples. John 15, verse 22 and verse 24. John 15.
22 reads, if I had not come and spoken to them,
right, they had not had sin.
They would have no sin.
That's right. In other words, they had no knowledge. Where knowledge is absent, God does not charge a person with sin, even though the person does something wrong. The person is not charged. But we know that Cain was condemned by God, so Cain had to have known. Read verse 24.
24 reads, if I had not done among them the works which none other man did, they would have no sin.
In other words, I spoke to them, I did works, they had evidence from me. Consequently, their works amounted to sin. Go to John chapter 9. Let's read verse 41. Read 39 to 41.
Then and Jesus said, for judgment I have come into this world, that those who do not see, may see, and that those who see may be made blind.
Yes. Now listen to the Pharisees and the Jews.
Then some of the Pharisees who were with him, who were with him, heard these words and said to him, are we blind also?
Listen to Jesus now.
And Jesus said to them, if you were blind, you would have no sin. But now you say, we see,
we know,
therefore
your sin remaineth.
Your sin remains.
Cain was charged with sin because he knew. That's a principle of God, you see. God does not execute judgment where someone is ignorant.
In the days of your ignorance,
he winks.
He winks.
Acts 17, verse 30. Yeah, he winks in the time of ignorance. He could not wink at Cain. Cain knew, clearly taught by his father Adam, what he should have brought, and he didn't. That's why God said, look, do what's right. God can't say do what's right without telling you. He said, if you do what's right, I'll receive you. That's what he said to him in Genesis chapter 4, verse 6. If you do what's right. And so he knew, and God had to pass judgment on him. God is such a nice person. He does not hold you guilty in times of ignorance. But God does not glorify ignorance. He wants people to know. The verse we use, Acts 17:30, in the time of this ignorance God winked at, but now commandeth men everywhere to repent. He wants you to know, because ignorance has no benefits.
Why did Jesus wait until he was 30 to begin his ministry?
It could be that in the Jewish system, priests began their duties at the age of 30. That's when they began their duties. That could be one reason why Jesus began his ministry, even though he was not a priest on the earth, but he would ultimately be a priest in heaven. But it could be for that reason the Jews began their priestly duties at the age of 30. So Christ began his public ministry at the age of 30.